Hi everyone. All right, now we're going to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I finally saw the movie. I can't do this in one video, so I'm going to do short videos. This first video is going to be the non-spoiler review. Is it a good movie? In a word, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty entertaining. There's positives and negatives. The big positives is that the atmosphere is just amazing. I mean, it just drowns in the atmosphere of that era. You know, what Tarantino does in terms of crafting the tone and the feel of that time period is amazing. It really is. But what really blows it all away are the performances from Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, especially Brad Pitt. I mean, Leonardo, always amazing. He has an amazing ability just to craft these characters that have such life to them, all their own. And it's different. They're different. They're not the same. Like other actors, they have a great character and they do slight variations on it. Oh no. No, Leo has completely crafted a new persona here, and it's just amazing to watch. Really. But that being said, Brad Pitt, even more amazing in this movie. I know, it's kind of hard to believe. But Brad Pitt's performance, now he's more understated, but man, there's a lot to his whole deal in this, you know? And it's really complex and interesting how it all comes together. But this, like a lot of Tarantino movies, aren't, you know, it doesn't follow the strict 3-act boom, boom, boom. It just doesn't follow that. I mean, this is kind of close to that, closer than most of his movies, which is why I think I like it a lot better than some of his more recent fare. I can't really discuss the ending without giving it away, but I will say that I think it is a bit of a cheat. And I'll get into that in the non-spoiler ending. But yeah, you can't really know the ending. So, but man, the performances alone are worth the price of admission. Now, here are the negatives. It's a very luxurious movie. I mean, it is long. It doesn't feel long in the sense that, like, oh God, I've been sitting here so long, but it doesn't feel short. I mean, I saw Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet, and man, the pacing on that doesn't feel like almost 3 hours. Or is it 3 hours? It's a long movie, at least as long as this. This movie kind of feels long. I think there's a lot of fat here. Although I love Margot Robbie, I could look at her all day. You know, the scenes with her in it, a lot of them are superfluous to the narrative. So, I could look at her all day, but, you know, there's scenes that after you see the ending and like, well, why did I sit through all that? Tarantino just worships movies, so if you're a moviephile, you'll like it. If you're not a moviephile, you're going to kind of be lost in some of it. And, I mean, we're talking about events that took place 50 years ago, and we're talking about movies and movie styles that, you know, were current 50 years ago. Literally 50 years ago. And that's a long time. So, definitely this is not a movie for the young crowd. I think a lot of it will go right past them. But, you know, there are a lot of homages here. And clearly there's a lot of craft involved. So you have to respect that craft that Tarantino uses. I just wish there was a little more of a message. And I guess there's some message in it. And I'll give you my thoughts on that in the non-spoiler, because you really can't talk about the message unless you talk about the ending. So, you know, the people complaining about this movie, I would completely ignore them. You know, these are the same people that complain that there's too much smoking in Stranger Things, and, you know, it took place in the 80s, and, you know, I just went for a walk with my dog, and people are smoking all over town. So, people smoke. And they really smoked back in '69 when this movie takes place. My God, everybody smoked. They smoked inside. You know, I was a little kid in the '70s. I used to go to my relative's house. The place would be a fog because everybody was inside smoking their brains out. You know, with the exception of a couple of people, everybody smoked. And I'm not saying smoking's good, but, you know, if you're going to do something of the time period, you know, smoking is the thing. So if you don't have smoking, it's weird. If you don't have ashtrays and people just smoking, I mean, they smoked. They smoked. As far as the, you know, thing about Bruce Lee, you know, I wasn't bothered by it. I mean, it's certainly an interpretation. You know, it could be true, it might not be. Everything I read about Bruce Lee, he was never that arrogant. What I read, he was always a very humble guy. He was very zen. You know, it's a scene where he gets a little bit arrogant, a little bit full of himself, but it doesn't make him look all that bad. I mean, and really, if you had just made him a generic character, it would have been fine. You know, I think Tarantino uses history and uses historical figures, in this case, movie historical figures, in a way that is different. It's not the way I would use it. I like to stay more true to the source material. Like, Inglourious Bastards kind of annoyed me because it wasn't historically accurate, but that didn't annoy me as much as other things in the movie, which I won't get into because that would be a long diatribe. But overall, I think this is a movie worth seeing. You know, it's definitely more of a matinee. It's a long movie. Again, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I want to say to my local theater, man, you really let me down. I was expecting not to see trailers ahead of a 2 hour and 45 minute movie, and 25 minutes on top of that was too much. I was running to my car. I had to get out of the theater. It was just too damn long to be in the theater. If you want to know why people aren't seeing movies, that would be one of them. Okay, another video coming up.